Hello, I'm Gabex, Challenger Big TOPPLESTICKS player, currently sitting Grandmaster, and in today's video we're gonna go through everything you need to know about Fiddlesticks top. I'm gonna have timestamps in the description in case you want to skip something and have easy time navigating. That being said, lay back, take notes, and enjoy. Before we dive into this, I wanna explain some phrases in case you don't know the meaning of them, which I'll be using throughout the video. Slow push, stacking up waves, which usually consists of 2 to 3 minion waves, and crashing it. Fast push, aka shoving, quickly killing the wave to crash it under the tower. Freeze, controlling the wave and having it close to your tower. Spacing, being able to auto-attack your enemy while he's running away, but also not being able to be engaged at. And most importantly, fiddle checkmate, forcing a freeze despite the enemy being there or not. This is just a brief overview of wave management. If you want to know more about it, then I'm sure there are YouTube videos that go into depth. Well, let's start with why you should play TOPPLESTICKS in the first place. Well, it has good sustain due to your drain, you can force freezes and abuse fiddle checkmate, you will always be useful no matter what, you can be 10-0 or 0-10. Your champion is really hard to dive, it's a good duelist, and it's actually really good for climbing, only having a few bad matchups. And the champion is really fun to play. Cons. Your champion can't really sideline and is quite weak into hull breaker abusers. And your teammates might not really like you or your pick, and they might even, let's say, ride you down. We start off with Fiddle's passive, a harmless scarecrow. Your trinket gets replaced by an effigy, which counts as a ward. After 6 dots, summons Sweeper. 1.5 seconds after being placed down, effigies are considered as clones, so you can use them to block abilities, such as Nunu's W. Fiddlesticks can also pretend to be an effigy by standing still and not acting nor being acted upon for 2 seconds. The passive is quite strong since it can be used to trick your enemies and clear out wards traps. For example, you can place your effigy in the top lane, so enemies see on the minimap that you're top lane. Meanwhile, you can also roam mid, and the enemies think you're top lane, so they are not gonna ping that you're missing. Next up we have Fiddle's Q, Terrify. Active, you fear an enemy, dealing damage based on enemy's current health, which is doubled if an enemy has already been feared. Passive of Terrify. If you're pretending to be an effigy, out of vision and out of combat for 2.5 seconds, then the rest of your abilities fear as well. Coming up next we have the Bountiful Harvest, or as the Fiddlesticks players call it, the Drain. Fiddlesticks channels a tether between him and the enemies inside of the drain range, dealing damage based on missing health and healing based on damage done. Elastic also deals bonus damage. The Drain also grants True Sight and reveals invisible enemies, for example Kha'Zix's ultimate and Akali's Shroud. It is also a perfect way of scouting bushes and, for example, passives such as Teemos. You just go next to the bush and you look at your W. If you can use it, it means someone is in your range. If you can't, then nobody's in your range. Fiddlesticks' third ability, E3. Fiddle hits targets with his sight, and slowing enemies who get hit, also silencing whoever is in the middle. Last but not least, we have Fiddle's ultimate, Crowstorm. Fiddlestick channels an ability for 1.5 seconds, which after he blinks to a selected location. This ability has enormous amount of AP ratios and deals a lot of damage. Also, this is one of the Fiddle's main abilities to one-shot people. Fiddle's entire playstyle is based around this ability. Now we're gonna talk about game stages, and first is early game. Early game is the most important part of the game, and it can go in 4 major ways, which is mostly matchup dependent. First we have very easy lanes, where you have full control. Second we have skilled. Third we have cheesy. And fourth we have very hard matchups. As mentioned previously, you have full control over the very easy matchups, such as Malphite or Cannon. You can either freeze and force your opponent to walk up, or permanently shove the wave to loop or rolls. Second type of matchups are skilled, and it's a combination of easy and medium. These are the type of opponents who might zone you out level 1, but win from level 2 and 3. Most of the matchups are here because the laning phase goes exactly the same way. The only difference is how big of a threat they are to you. For example, Jax and Darius. The laning phase goes exactly the same way, but the only difference is Darius is a lot bigger threat to you than Jax. Usually how the lane goes, enemy slow pushes into you to crash the second and third wave. By then you are at least level 2 and have a Q and W up, which allows you to fiddle checkmate. Now the enemy can't really do anything because he can't get close to you, because you either have your Q and W up or you have all 3 of your abilities. And he can't chase you down because the tower is right there behind you. However, if they do manage to crash the third wave, you're gonna be stacking up the 4th and 5th wave and having a level on your opponent, despite them having an item lead from the reset. If they did reset, of course. If they didn't reset, then it's even easier to do because you have a wave stack. My dip against skilled type of champions is space correctly, play around fiddle checkmate, and minion waves. This way you can inflict 3 damage to your opponent, which ultimately results in a kill. Third way a lane can go is by playing cheese against certain matchups, like Renekton and Aurelia. These type of lanes usually go W start in order to play for level 2 and have a third way bounce back. This works 90% of the cases. Depending on how they play level 1, you can even look for a tower dive and raid a kill. Trading a kill is okay if they lose like 3 days from it. You don't want to leash when playing against such champions. In these type of matchups, you need to have good matchup knowledge and XP tracking. Also remember to use your fiddle checkmate. Fourth way early game can go is you need to play it really safe. These type of matchups are driven and champions if you couldn't cheese them early. You're just looking to survive lane and try to not die. Your best bet here is to roam mid or bot lane and then TP back top lane to catch waves. Here are some general early game tips. Look at timers, 4:15 and 6:50. These are the timers junglers usually are at the start of that. Keep in mind that they can vary if they have character down. If enemy has an early game jungler, put your refuge in the bush. Green is on blue side, is on red side. If enemy top is somebody who can cheese, like Olaf, Jack Sarius, put it in the first lane bush. If you're stomping your lane and you've gotten to the tower, then Astos up at mid. If mid lane gets side, of course. So you could use your lead to get bot mid ahead as well. Use bushes. Permamark in the bushes, especially after 6. That way you can zone out your enemies without having the intention to R. You can also look for short trades such as your E from bush, which grants you fear with double damage from kill. If enemy is freezing, you can break it along with your ultimate. Most of the roam timers are when enemies freeze top lane or you have a stacked up wave and you can tower dive. Also you can roam when your jungler is catching up the wave. So for example, your jungler is catching up top wave, that gives you timer to go mid or bot lane. Mid game is really about playing hide and seek and looking to fist fight whenever you have your ultimate up. Your goal is to get as many objectives as possible. But I just have to write it in chat. I do it pretty much every game. Play, then I write an objective's name, I have R, and then you spam bang it. If there is an upcoming objective, like 1 minute 30 seconds before, write it in chat. Spam bang it, take control of the objective, camp pushes and wait. If there are no upcoming objectives, push in side lane, shut on mid, repeat until objective. Free feed or lead the top tower to get an important early Drake if you have a TP up. For example, you walk the Drake from base, once it's secured, you TP back top. The more creative you are, the more games you're gonna win. For example, I was playing against a split pusher. We were 5v4 mid lane, we just engaged, we killed 3 to 4 of them, and we just ended the game. Meanwhile that guy was taking out an inhibitor tower. It's okay to trade objectives as long as you know it's gonna be worth it. Late game. At this point everything one-shots everything and respawn timers are so high you need to be careful at all times. It's really similar to mid game, where everything just one-shots everything. In one sentence, your main goal is to ult as many people as possible in the late game fights and peel for your carries. Farming can be quite frustrating to deal with, so here are some of my tips. Go to the practice stone and last it until confident by it. Melee minions take 2 tower shots plus an auto attack. Ranged minions on the other hand are a bit more complicated, but not to worry about. You auto attack the minion, wait for tower shot to go through, then kill it with W. Finishing the train at the moment the minion dies. The next ranged minions die from tower shot plus an auto attack. In the middle of the lane, you can kill melee minions with full W if they're around 100 HP. I'm not gonna go through every matchup because it's slightly talked about it in the game states. I also have a talks presentation about most of the TOPPLESTICKS matchups, which you can find in the description down below. I listed the difficulty of most of the matchup in the explanation, which I'll be updating. I'll also be adding more matchup as I get more knowledge. Only thing to say, whenever you play TOPPLESTICKS, add Natrix. When choosing an ultimate spot, it all depends on where your enemy team is, where are they coming from, where is vision, what are you playing for. Keep that in mind when choosing an ultimate spot. When it comes to runes, then you have two options, either going for sorcery or inspiration. Go-to runes in most games is sorcery, where they come from. Provides with really strong poke in early game instead of Scorch and being able to proc it quite easily. Mana Throw is really good since Fiddle loses a lot of mana in lane. Transcendence gives you multiple fields in a fight, as Takedown reduces CD abilities. Second in rune page is Domination, since you must have the ultimate untapped that it moves more often. The reason to go for Days of Blood is due to it giving you better trading in lane, and everything else is quite bad for Fiddle. Second go-to rune page is First Strike, which only take for Cyan, Ornn, Gesante and Cho'Gath. The reasoning behind it is that Poke's value isn't good versus the big stopwatch, since in some games you must rush boots first, Twitch's market to get items faster, Cosmic Insight to get TPs up since every TP is a roam angle to bot lane. Second rune page has the same reasoning as Comics. Flash and TP. This is the overall best summoners to take on TOPPLESTICKS. It allows you to get some decent early game recalls into freezes. Not only that, it allows you to roam the Drake in bot lane, get something done there and TP back to top lane to not lose XP and keep ratings. It allows you to counter gank and help teammates past 10th minute. Flash and Ignite. You must have this against an Olaf, otherwise you're not gonna win it. You can take Ignite into lanes, you can kill easily and snowball off from. Flash and Exhaust. Take this only against Draven and Urgot, since it makes the matchup more playable and neutralizes the lane. There are three ways of maxing abilities. The first one being used the most. W max into Q max into E. Second being used in a few matchups such as Renekton and Yone. 3 points W, then Q max, then maxing W second and then E. Third which is used only in a few games. Q max to W max into E. Also keep in mind to put points into ultimate whenever you can. When it comes to what ability to start with, then it's all matchup dependent, which you can find in the docs presentation again. Your starting item every game should be Dornan selling and 2 health potions. Then first pack options are really on your gold dependent. You could go Boots plus Dark Seal if you have 650 gold, Sork Shoes if you have 1.1000 gold, or Lost Chapter which also costs 1.1000 gold. It's matchup dependent. Against tanks usually go Lost Chapter, or Oblivion Orb which costs you 800 gold and you only get it with Fiora. Your first item is either Sork Shoes or your Rash Liandry's, depending on who you play against it again. Usually against tanks you wanna go for Liandry's. Second item, depending what you bought on your first item, if you went for Sork Shoes, go for Mythic, which is either Ludens versus Squishy and if you're snowballing, or Liandry's versus tanks. Or Boots, Sork Shoes if you didn't buy them. Third item, if you have enough gold for components, go for Death Cap. If you don't have the most amount of gold, go for Shadow Flame. Plus if enemy has heavy shielding in the team. Panji as well, go this against Twisted Fate only. Or White Stuff if enemy team is stacking MR. Fourth item, go Death Cap if you didn't buy a third. White Stuff if enemy team is stacking MR. Shadow Flame if they have a bunch of squishies plus heavy shielding in enemy team. Or Elonomicon. If you bought Orb and enemy has a lot of healing, finish Morello. Fifth item, White Stuff. Again, if entire enemy team is stacking MR, Shadow Flame if they have a bunch of squishies plus shielding, or Elonomicon if you bought Orb and enemy has a lot of healing, Rayleigh Crystal Scepter if enemy has 3 to 4 melee champions in their team, Zonya. Also good choice is 5th or 6th item if you have nothing else to buy. 6th item, you take something from the previous items list. Last but not least we have combos. Your main combo is QEW. Depending on your enemy, you can also put auto attacks in between. Just keep in mind of enemies' tenacity, if they have mercs, if they have unflinching, if they have legend tenacity. That determines how many auto attacks you can have in between. When it comes to ultimate combos, you always want to use your Q after your ultimate, because it does damage based on current health. And you want to deal as much damage before using your W, because your W does damage based on missing health. So usually you want to use your W last. You can also extend your fear range with your W or E. The E version is a lot easier. The way you do the E version is you R and you hover your mouse over your enemy, and you spam your E. The moment your ult is finished channeling, they get feared. The way you can extend fear range with your W is you ultimate, then you spam your W, and the moment you have ulted to a selected location, you W flash. Everyone around you gets feared. There is also a way the animation cancels your W. The way you do it is moments before W is finished, you input another movement click, which cancels the finishing animation for W. This is a lot faster and also more riskier if you don't know how to do it consistently. And we have reached the end of this guide. I hope you enjoyed the video and learned something new. And if you did, then make sure to like and subscribe. If you have any feedback, then make sure to leave it in the comments below. I'll also leave the docs presentation files in the description, so make sure to check them out. Make sure to join my Twitch and Discord server as well. Make sure to join the Ring Gang, having group activities, and different kind of things in the Discord server, so make sure to join. I'm also gonna leave the readable guide in the description down below as well. Until next time, goodbye.